It is officially July, which means we have really 1 month without football left. I'm excited for that. It's preview season also here on the channel. West Virginia is up today. How will the Mountaineers do in the return of Rich Rod to the program? We'll talk about all that and more here on Armchair Analysis. Hope you all are having, again, a great Tuesday. It is July 1st, 2025. And again, it's all about the West Virginia Mountaineers today. Before we get into that, though, I want to say that if you are new around here, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know your predictions for the West Virginia Mountaineers in 2025. I'm super excited to talk about this team because there's a lot of unknowns to what they are and what they're going to be this year. And it's really because of what they did in the portal. We'll explain all that, and I'll go through kind of why and what is on my mind for this team here in 2025. But first, let's talk about 2024. The final year of the Neil Brown era, and I know that a lot of my friends in Morgantown are pretty excited that that era is over. And yeah, it was definitely as bad as you thought it was, but in some regards it wasn't. It just never worked out. Things were not meant to be up there, but they did go 6-7. They ended with a 500, an above 500 conference record at 5-4 in Big 12 play last year, averaging 29.2 points per game, which was 54th in college football. They gave up 31.9 points per game, which is 110th. A turnover margin per game of negative 0.6. That was 110th as well. And that right there is exactly why things never worked out. They couldn't take care of the football, and they struggled mightily on defense. On top of that, the offensive coordinator moves, some worked and some didn't, and some certainly worked better than others. Part of the help last year was having a guy like Garrett Green, but of course other guys in the backfield, Jaheim White, C.J. Donaldson now out and up in Columbus at Ohio State. But this team also put together the number 52 recruiting class in college football last year, in a top 30 portal class coming in right at number 30, bringing in 52 commitments to the program. And yes, that is certainly important because that is a huge change. And how is that going to work? I mean, so many guys coming over. A lot come from Jacksonville State, but some of these guys are also coming from other places. How are they all going to mesh together and work in year one, part two of the Rich Rod era? Well, we'll kind of go through that here. Looking at the coaching staff, of course, Rich Rodriguez is the head coach, but he's also the offensive coordinator. He's going to call all the plays on offense. Something I really love is that Rhett Rodriguez, his son, of course, former college quarterback himself, is an assistant quarterbacks coach or a co-QB coach, along with Pat White, who's been brought into this team to be a part of the program as the other quarterbacks coach. And then, of course, I'm just blanking, but I know as soon as I see it, I'm going to be upset with myself. I know it's Trickett, but I keep wanting to say Clint Trickett, and that's obviously not it. Let's see here. Travis Trickett, the senior offensive analyst. Sorry, had to go find it because I was really frustrated. I could not think of the name here. So it's going to be an interesting offense. Going to be an interesting team overall to see what they're going to do. And to be honest, I don't have a whole lot to talk about from last year because very little to none of it applies in 2025. So let's go ahead and start with the offense. Three players returning from last year's team that were starters: Jaheim White, Rodney Gallagher, and Preston Fox. That's it. Now, they do bring in Cam Vaughn from Jacksonville State. He's probably the most exciting part of this team. Jaden Bray returns, and Oran Singleton Jr. from Eastern Michigan. Those are the wide receivers. I'm excited to see what they do. The quarterback, of course, Nico Marchiol, getting his first opportunity to be the guy in this program and as a starting quarterback. Sat behind Garrett Green, played a little bit, looked really good, and I'm excited for him. I think that he is going to be a successful player and a successful quarterback with this team. You look at the running back room, and I think it is going to be probably a 3 or 4 horse race all through the fall and probably all through football season, to be honest. Jaheim White, of course, is going to be the lead back. He is going to be your star, tried and true. He's going to play, I don't want to say every down, but he's going to be on the field the majority of the snaps at running back. You do have Dior Hubbard. Ty Edwards comes over from Northern Iowa. Excited to see what he's able to do at the FBS level. But you'll notice a few different things there is that there's guys who just don't have the FBS or Power 4 experience yet. That'll come, but it'll be interesting to see how they adjust. Ty Edwards is one of them, but I do expect him to have a good, significant amount of playing time himself. A guy I'm watching for in that running back room, Sincere Bowers. Now, he's not going to be a guy who plays a lot. At least I'm not expecting it. But he has the best 40 time of anybody on the offense at a 4.3, which opens up a lot of things. And when I think of this, I think of he's going to fill in and be the Tavon Austin of this offense. It's going to be interesting, of course. And they also have Noel Devine, who's on this coaching staff as well, a very similar player himself. It was a 4.35 40-yard dash time, as a matter of fact, to be even more specific. I just have a feeling that he is not just going to sit on the bench and kind of wait his turn. He is going to play probably pretty quick in this team and in this offense. I just don't see, knowing what we know about Rich Rod, and obviously as somebody who is a Michigan fan, grew up a Michigan fan, I got to watch this guy go to work. And if there's a weapon like that with that kind of speed on the team, he's not just going to sit there and wait until, all else has failed. He's going to be on the field and playing. So Sincere Bowers is a guy that I'm really excited to watch and see what kind of role he grows into and how he capitalizes on the opportunity. The offensive line, I'm expecting them to be fine, but honestly, I don't have a lot to say because it's not a unit that's been together very often and very much. And really, the spring and fall camps are going to be the opportunities to work together and build as a unit. It's just going to take time. I don't think it's going to be sunshine and rainbows from the beginning, truthfully, for any part of this team, but I just do not see this being like, oh my goodness, West Virginia just come out of nowhere and now they're Big 12 contenders from the beginning. I don't think it's going to be that way. I think it's going to be some growing pains. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle to get things going. But eventually, it's going to come out. It's going to work out pretty well. Looking at the defense, and this is really the side of the ball that I'm likely the most concerned about, but at the same time, I'm almost excited for because I think there's some potential for them. They got one returning starter, and that's Edward Vesterainen, defensive tackle. This team does have 5 players that are projected to start that are from the 2024 West Virginia football roster. But again, only one returning starter. What does any of this really mean? What does anything on this roster really mean? And the answer that I have for you is I don't know. Jordan Scruggs was a top 10 player at cornerback on my top 10 list a few weeks ago. And he is not even a projected starter. And he did amazing work at South Alabama. I thought he was going to be a sure thing, going to be a starter. So what does that say about who is on this roster currently? Are we to be excited, or did I overrate Jordan Scruggs? Currently, I lean towards the latter, but I don't know that. I can't tell you without seeing it on the field. And then overall, the biggest question I have, and this could go for either side, but I'm going to stick to the defensive side of the ball for a minute. How does this team build and work together and become a cohesive unit in 2025? It's the biggest question I have because this is easily one of the bigger portal classes I've ever seen, and the ones that we've seen that have been this big have not been fruitful at all. The one that comes to my mind, the biggest, is Coach Prime. When he went to Colorado, they pulled in over 70 players from the portal and all the changes that he made from the very beginning, and they went 4-8, which was an improvement from 1-11, but they went 4-8. the culture change on top of the personnel changes, again, I cannot say to you, it's going to be a rough and bumpy start. That's just the way it goes. Anytime we see this mass change the way we're seeing it here, it doesn't mean it's 100% going to be terrible. No, and I'm not even saying terrible. I'm just saying it's going to be rough. Remember, they're coming from 6-7. So to improve off of 6-7 versus a team that's trying to improve from 1-11 looks a little bit different. Having a proven head coach at any level, let alone the college level, and let alone at this university, changes things around a little bit. There's reason to be pumped. And by the way, the one thing I haven't mentioned about this defense, Zach Alley coming over from Oklahoma to be the defensive coordinator. Excited to see him in the role full time. And he's got some guys I really like. My favorite, of course, Reed Carrico, going to be a starter at the, I believe, the inside linebacker position. Excited for him. Excited to see how other guys get it. Ben Cutter's a guy that I'm excited to see where he fits into this defense as a guy who stayed and is trying to be a part of this program as well. There's just so many different storylines with this West Virginia team that I think are worth paying attention to. My overall thoughts, and then I'll give you a quote from Athlon Sports magazine from an assistant Big 12 coach, anonymous of course. But my thoughts were this. This is a huge rebuild for Rich Rod. Year one is all about reestablishing an identity, maybe pulling off an upset win or two along the way. No matter what, this team will be fun to watch in 2025, and I do buy that because I think it's going to be fun to see how everything ties together, fits together, and becomes, again, a cohesive unit on both sides of the football. Now, the opposing assistant coach, again, anonymous, and also from, again, the Athlon Sports magazine. And sure enough, I have the cover, the Big 12 East cover edition, which has Rocco Becht, Avery Johnson, and Jaheim White on it. Here is the quote. Rich Rod hasn't been shy about expectations going into his first year back. They need to find that group of backfield workhorses for the system to run. A lot of the guys they brought in with them from Jacksonville State are at other positions, so the biggest thing to watch is how fast they can lock on their ball carriers and the quarterback. If that clicks, everything else will adjust quicker. I don't think they have the bodies yet on defense, especially up front. They're going to struggle on that side of the ball unless they can really jump out on offense and keep them off the field. This is an adjustment year where they can put in the culture in the scheme. If they can lock in the offensive line and find their next guy in the backfield, they could finish ahead of schedule. I agree with pretty much the majority of that, and it's just one of those years. You sit back, find where you are, find out who you are and what you're going to be, and really they know who they are and what they're going to be. They just don't know how they can do it. Now, the one thing I think that this coach missed on is the fact that they don't have running backs. I think that's probably the biggest miss here. They do have running backs, and they have plenty of them that are going to fit and run the system. And again, Jaheim White is going to be your 1A. He's going to be your A back. Everybody else is going to have to find their way to fit in, and I think they'll do just fine at doing so. With that said, take a look at the schedule here. And it's not easy by any means, but it's not the worst. They could have pulled a tougher draw here. Over-under sits at 5.5. Odds to win the Big 12 plus 5,000. National championship odds plus 100,000. They're in an interesting spot, and I think it's going to be fun to watch. Now, if you watched my pit preview yesterday, you probably already know how I feel about the brawl. But stick with me here. Stick with me, because I'm telling you, I may just surprise you with what I take here. You're going to start the year with Robert Morris, and you're going to get the win. You're going to go on the road to Peden Stadium and face the Ohio Bobcats in Athens. I'm telling you, if Tim Albin was still here, we're excited. I'm still excited for this Ohio team because I do believe there's potential. They have a really good run game. Parker Navarro's back. They're going to be a fun team to watch offensively. It's how their defense performs on top of how this West Virginia defense is performing at this point. I'm going to take West Virginia just out of sheer talent and I think overall offensive capabilities. but it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be closer, I think, than a lot of people are expecting. You'll get Pitt at home, and as I said yesterday, I just think that Pitt at this point is going to be a lot more figured out. Part of that's because of their continuity over last year to this year. The other part of that is very similar. I just don't think there's going to be many teams that can hang with this Pitt team as a whole, whether that's physicality, the ability for the Pitt offense to be as dynamic as they're going to be, plus their defense to create havoc. I think it's going to be a little bit too much for West Virginia, still trying to figure themselves out. It'll be the first loss for the Mountaineers of the season. You'll go on the road to Kansas to face the Jayhawks. I think you get a win here. As I said a couple rotations ago when I was on Kansas, that actually this was only a few days ago, but I'm not totally bought into Kansas offensively, and I'm really not bought into West Virginia offensively. I just feel like this is one of those situations where they pull off that upset or two. One of those moments where they get the job done and do what they need to do. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a game to pay attention to early in the year. I'll leave it at that for now. You get Utah at home, and I think that at this point Utah is just going to be a little bit too much. Their offense is going to have itself a lot more sorted out. On the road against BYU, and with the recent news, I almost changed this pick. Of course, Jake Retzloff no longer going to be with the program or expected to enter the portal after an investigation which has led to the university opting for a 7-game suspension, which is now going to lead to him again leaving the program. I'm going to be more likely changing this pick down the line, but for right now, I'm going to stick to where I'm at with a loss to BYU in Provo. I think that's what's keeping me on the loss, but that's subject to change. You come out of a bye week with UCF in the bounce house. I really don't care where it's at. I think West Virginia at this point, especially with the bye week in hand, has a chance to really sort things out and put themselves in position to move forward. You get TCU at home on October 25th, and this one is just simply the fact that I think TCU is that good, giving TCU the win. Houston on the road. If this game is in Morgantown, I might have a different tone, but this game being down in Houston, I think Willie Fritz is going to have his team a lot more sorted out, a lot more organized, and just a better understanding of an identity, I think, at that point. I'm taking Houston to win. Colorado at home. This is going to be a fun one because this is two teams that are kind of searching for bowl eligibility in 2025. Home field advantage is going to mean a lot here. On top of that, I just trust this West Virginia team a little more. Going to take the Mountaineers to get the job done. So they'll be 5-4 at this point. No, I'm blind. 5-5 at this point, with 2 games remaining. Go on the road to Arizona State, out in Tempe. I just think that road trip's going to be a little bit too much. And they'll take a loss to Sam Leavitt and the Sun Devils. And then come back home out of a bye week against Texas Tech. At home, this is going to be the upset that puts this West Virginia team and this coaching staff back on the map. I think they are going to get that upset win, that signature win of the season here to close it out, put themselves at bowl eligible, and give themselves a lot of momentum heading into 2026 and beyond as they continue to put themselves together and build for what they're hoping is a successful future under Rich Rodriguez. Closing it out at 6-6, 4-5 in Big 12 play. And I think this is more than attainable. I think 7 is probably the ceiling. I'm not going above 7. I'm also not going below 4. I don't buy 4 and 8 really at all. I think maybe 5-7 is probably the number. But it's going to be a lot of fun. This is a team that is unpredictable. It's hard to say with so many changes So many differences in this roster. I don't really know what to tell you is going to happen. What I do know is this is a team that you should be tuning into. If they're on national TV, if they're on in the 3:30 slot on a boring, on one of the slower Saturdays, this is a team just to tune in. Is like, okay, where are they at? Who are they? What are they trying to put together? What are they trying to do? This West Virginia team's got a lot, I think, that is worth checking out. So make sure you do at some point this year is basically the best way I can put it. I think they're going to be, again, a lot of fun. So with that said, I thank you all for tuning in. Again, if you're new around here and you made it this far in the video, please leave a like, subscribe. All that helps these videos get out a little bit further, and it really just helps me hit this goal that we're trying to hit of 100 subscribers by the beginning of college football season, which is August 23rd. We're going for week 0 to be at 100 or above. The way the growth has been over the last couple of months, I wouldn't be surprised if we get above 100, but I'm just shooting for 100. That's all we're going for now. Start small and overshoot the goal, right? So I thank y'all for the support over the last month. It's been awesome. Super, super pumped to get the month of July going and continue preview season, which you can find that playlist for every other video we've done here in preview season on the channel, all the way starting from June 1st when we did Florida State, all the way to today's West Virginia Mountaineers preview. I thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. The Washington Huskies are on deck.